So students, let us study the third topic of geography, that is water resources. Before we start, what I intended to do is to give you a quick review of some forms of water resources. The most common resources of water are rivers, lakes, reservoirs, groundwater. The water run by these resources are useful to humans in many ways. The water is useful in terms of agriculture, industrial use, recreational activities, household and environmental activities. The important point to be noted is that all these activities require fresh water. Ocean water, sea water is salty, hence it cannot be used. So we need only fresh water. So now you are aware of the beginning. Let's start with the chapter. How do we get fresh water? The 3/4 of Earth's surface is covered with water, but only a small proportion of it accounts for fresh water that can be put to use. This fresh water is mainly obtained from surface runoff. It means that when it rains, the water which flows over the surface of the water, and the second source is groundwater, which is continually being renewed and recharged through the hydrological cycle. We also know that all water moves within the hydrological cycle, ensuring that water is a renewable resource. Now, the question arises, if there is a large proportion of water on earth, then why we are discussing about water scarcity? Clear? And why there is the need for conservation of water and water management. So let us have a look at reasons responsible for water scarcity in India. Clear? The availability of water resources varies over space and time, mainly due to variation in seasonal and annual precipitation. The moment we speak of water shortages, we immediately associate it with regions having low rainfall or those that are drought prone. But there are another factors apart from rainfall for the water scarcity. Clear? The availability of water resources varies over space and time, mainly due to variation in seasonal and annual precipitation. But water scarcity in most cases is caused by over-exploitation, excessive use, and unequal access to water among different social groups. Water scarcity may be an outcome of large and growing population and consequent greater demands for water and unequal access to it. As a large population means more water, not only for domestic use, but also to produce more food. Hence, to facilitate higher food grain production, water resources are being overexploited to expand irrigated areas and dry season agriculture. You might have seen most farmers have their own wells and tube wells in their farms for irrigation to increase their produce. That it may lead to falling groundwater levels, adversely affecting water availability, and definitely it will affect the water security of people. Now, apart from the reasons which we have seen, urbanization and industrialization also leads to water scarcity. Post-independent India witnessed intensive industrialization and urbanization. Apart from the arrival of MNCs are heavy users of water and they also require power to run them. Much of this energy comes from hydroelectric power. Then the multiplying urban centers with large and dense population and urban lifestyles have not only added to water and energy requirement, but have further aggravated the problem. The ever increasing number of industries had made matter worse by exerting pressure on fresh water resources. Today in India, hydroelectric power contributes approximately 22% of total electricity that is produced in our country. Then, why there is need to conserve and manage our water resources? Definitely to safeguard ourselves from health hazard, then to ensure food security, then to continue our livelihoods and productive activities, and to prevent degradation of our natural ecosystem. Over-exploitation and mismanagement of water resources will impoverize this resource and cause ecological crises that may have profound impact on our lives. Hence, we need to conserve water. Now, let us deal with multipurpose river projects and integrated water resource management. Archaeological and historical records shows that from ancient times we have various forms of sophisticated hydraulic structures here which were built of stone rubbles, then reservoirs, lakes, embankments, and canals for irrigation. Some examples of hydraulic structure in ancient time: in the 1st century BC, Sringaverapura near Allahabad had sophisticated water harvesting system, channeling the floodwater of the river Ganga. And during the time of Chandragupta Maurya, dams, lakes, and irrigation systems were extensively built. Then evidences of sophisticated irrigation works have also been found in Kalinga, in Orissa, Nagarjunakonda in Andhra Pradesh, Bennur in Karnataka, and Kolhapur in Maharashtra. In the 11th century, Bhopal Lake, one of the largest artificial lake of its time, was built. Then in 14th century, the tank in Hauj Khas, Delhi, was constructed by Tutmish for supplying water to Shri Fort area. Now, what are the main objectives of multi-purpose river valley projects? Here, definitely the objectives are to supply water for domestic and industrial uses, to control flood, for recreation, for inland navigation, and fish breeding. The Sutluj-Beas river basin, the Bhakra Nangal project water is being used both for hydel power production and irrigation. Similarly, the Hirakud project in the Mahanadi basin integrates conservation of water with flood control. Archaeological dams were traditionally built to impound river and rainwater that could be used later to irrigate agricultural fields. Today, dams are built not just for irrigation but for electricity generation, water supply for domestic and industrial uses, flood control, recreation, inland navigation, and fish breeding. Now, dams are now referred to as impounded water. In recent years, multipurpose projects and large dams have come under great scrutiny and opposition for a variety of reasons. Before us dealing with that topic, let us deal with this topic. Our first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, proclaimed the dams as the temple of modern India. The reason behind that was dams provide water for agriculture, dams provide water for human and industrial consumption, dams provide hydroelectricity for houses and industries. Means all the wishes of human beings were satisfied by these dams. So Jawaharlal Nehru correctly proclaimed the dams to be the temples of modern India. Now, as I have already told, that multipurpose projects became the subject of opposition due to various reasons. Clear? The reasons behind that are the reservoirs that are created on the floodplains submerge the existing vegetation and soil, leading to its decomposition over a period of time. Multipurpose projects and large dams have also been cause of many social movements. Clear? The main reasons are blocking of channels due to the construction and blockage of natural flow of river. Then the river bottom becomes deprived of silt. Then reduction in the food of riverine life, degradation of forest and soil due to submergence during floods. Then let us deal about the consequences when a dam is built. See, regulating and damming of rivers affect the natural flow, causing poor sediment flow and excessive sedimentation at the bottom of the reservoir, resulting in rockier stream beds and poor habitat for aquatic life. This we have dealt in the last slide. Clear? Then dams make it difficult for aquatic fauna to migrate, especially for spawning. Then local people often have to give up their land, livelihood, and their mere access and control over resources for greater good of the nation. Irrigation has also changed the cropping pattern of many regions, with farmer shifting to water-intensive and commercial crops. At the same time, it has transformed the social landscape, that is, increasing the social gap between the rich landowners and landless poor. Most of the objectives of the project arose due to their failure to achieve the purpose for which they were built. Ironically, the dams that were constructed to control floods have triggered floods due to sedimentation in the reservoir. Moreover, the big dams have mostly become unsuccessful in controlling floods at the time of excessive rainfall. Multipurpose projects and large dams have also been the cause of many new social movements. Here, like Narmada Bachao Andolan, Tehari Dam Andolan. Now, let us proceed further and deal with the topic rainwater harvesting. Clear? See, many thought that given the disadvantage and rising resistance against the multipurpose project, water harvesting system was a viable alternative both socio-economically and environmentally. People had in deep knowledge of rainfall regimes and soil types and developed wide-ranging techniques to harvest rainwater, groundwater, river water, and flood water in keeping with the local ecological conditions and their water needs. In hills and mountain regions, people built divergent channels like the Gulls and Kulls of the Western Himalayas for agriculture. Then rooftop water harvesting was commonly practiced to store drinking water, particularly in Rajasthan. Then in the semi-arid regions of Rajasthan, particularly in Bikaner, Halodi, and Barmer, almost all the houses traditionally had underground tanks for storing water. Clear? Then in semi-arid regions, the fields were converted into rain-fed storage structure called khadins and johars that allowed the water to stand and moist the soil. Rainwater harvest. Now let us deal with the topic rainwater harvesting in semi-arid regions of Rajasthan. All houses traditionally had underground tanks for storing drinking water, and these tanks were known as tankas. They are extremely reliable source of drinking water when other sources are dried up. This considered rainwater was considered as the purest form of natural water, and it was also known as palar pani. The tanks which were built for rainwater harvesting can be as large as a big room. The tanks were part of the well-developed rooftop rainwater harvesting system. Clear? Those tanks were connected to the sloping roof of the houses through a pipe. Rain falling on the rooftop would travel down the pipe and store in these underground tanks. The tanks were built inside the main house, giving cooling effect to the rooms in the summer. Clear? This was all about tankas. Tankas means the tanks which were built for rainwater harvesting in semi-arid regions. Clear? Now, let us deal with one of the innovative technique of drip irrigation, bamboo drip irrigation system. Clear? Bamboo drip irrigation system is a 200-year-old system of tapping stream and spring water by using bamboo pipe and transporting water from higher to lower regions through gravity. The features of bamboo drip irrigation system is 18 to 20 liters of water enters bamboo pipe system and reduced to 20 to 30 drops per minute. Clear? In Meghalaya, this system is 200 years old technique. Clear? Then the flow of water into the pipes is controlled by manipulating the pipe position. Then the benefits from this bamboo drip irrigation system is that the operation cost and the initial cost is very low. The weeds which are grown along with the crops cannot absorb water, then the yield, the crop yield maximizes, the loss of nutrient is minimized. Clear? So students, I hope that you might have understood the topic which I have explained till now. So, thank you.